Greetings everyone, I welcome you all back to your online art class, and in today's lesson we will be discussing and learning different coloring concepts. As you all might remember that in previous week's lecture we learned color wheel, what a color wheel is and how it is used in our artworks. Now today we will be continuing on that concept and we would be further learning about different coloring concepts, the ways and terms and terminologies that we use in our coloring artworks. The first coloring concept is achromatic colors. What are achromatic colors? Achromatic colors are the colors which have no shades, which have no values or hues. They're blank, just like black, white, grays, or some shades of brown. They are called achromatic colors. The second term is binder. What is a binder? A binder is basically a material that binds colors to different mediums. Like we paint our vehicles. Some of you might know that cars are painted in different colors. How they are painted? The color is binded by using some sort of a glue that binds that color permanently to the surface of the car. Those materials that we use for binding colors with mediums are called binders. The next term is colorist. What is a colorist? A colorist is basically an artist or a painter who has excelled to a greater level of coloring, in which he only uses pigments on his canvases or colors on his canvases. He just uses colors on his canvases and artworks. For example, there can be an artist who uses pencil shading or portrait sketching to make an artwork, but colorists don't do that. They just only use colors. The next concept is color value. The lightness or the darkness of the color is called color value. Low value is dark, higher the value, it is bright. The next concept is color wheel. As you all might have studied last week what a color wheel is, it is basically a circular diagram that shows relationship between primary, secondary and tertiary colors. So that is a color wheel. The next concept is complementary colors. Complementary colors are the colors that sit on the opposite sides of the color wheel. For example, orange and blue and red. The next concept is cool colors. Cool colors are basically green, violet and blue, and they evoke the feeling of coolness in an artwork. For example, a sea or a winter represented in an artwork. The next term is opacity. Opacity is the term referred to as the covering ability of a color. So, if the opacity of a color is lighter, the more transparent that color will be. But if the opacity value is higher of that color, then that color will be more prominent. The next concept is palette. Palette is a wooden slab on which artists use to mix paints and oil colors. That is called a palette. The next concept is Pantone Matching System or PMS. It is an internationally recognized system of coding of colors in which colors are coded with values and numbers. These colors are pre-mixed colors. The next concept is shade. What is a shade? A shade is the dark value of a color. For example, dark blue. So dark is the shade of blue. It is opposite to the tint, where tint is the lighter value of the color, like light blue. The next concept is tone. Tone can also be referred to as the shade or tint value of a color because it represents the lightness or the darkness of the color. So a tone is also that. And finally, coming to the last concept that we will use in arts, it's warm colors. What are warm colors? Warm colors are basically red, orange and yellow, and these evoke the feeling of warmth in an image or in an artwork like a sunset or a desert. We use this color to represent warmth in an artwork. I hope you are all familiar with these coloring concepts now, and you will be able to use these terminologies in making your artworks in the future. Now we will be heading to an animation that will further discuss some important concepts of art and terminologies.
Color. It plays a vital role in design and everyday life. It can draw your eye to an image, evoke a certain mood or emotion, even communicate something important without using words at all. So how do we know which colors look good together and which ones don't? The answer is simple. Color theory. Artists and designers have followed color theory for centuries, but anyone can learn more about it. It can help you feel confident in many different situations, whether it's choosing colors for a design or putting together the perfect outfit. All it takes is a little insight, and you'll be looking at color in a whole new way. Let's start at the beginning, the very beginning, with a refresher on the basics. Remember learning about primary and secondary colors in school? then you already have some knowledge of color theory. Red and yellow make orange, yellow and blue make green, and blue and red make purple. If we mix these colors together, we get even more in-between shades, like red-orange and yellow-green. All together, they form what's called a color wheel. You can probably see where it gets its name. Now, let's take it one step further with hue, saturation, and value. These are terms you might never see in daily life, but they're the key to understanding more nuanced colors, like all those little paint chips at the home improvement store. Hue is the easiest one. It's basically just another word for color. Saturation refers to intensity. In other words, whether the color appears more subtle or more vibrant. Value has to do with how dark or light the color is, ranging from black to white. As you can see, this gives us many different shades, from a deep reddish brown to light pastel pink. So how do we put this all together to create professional-looking color schemes? There are actually tried and true formulas based on something called color harmony that can help. All you need is the color wheel. The easiest formula for harmony is monochromatic because it only uses one color or hue. Just pick a spot on the color wheel and use your knowledge of saturation and value to create variations. The best thing about monochromatic color schemes is that they're guaranteed to match. Complementary colors are opposite each other on the wheel, for instance, blue and orange, or the classic red and green. To avoid complementary color schemes that are too simplistic, add some variety by introducing lighter, darker, or desaturated tones. There are a few classic do's and don'ts when it comes to color. For instance, have you ever seen colors that seem to vibrate when they're placed next to each other? The solution is to tone it down, literally, and there's a simple way to do it. Start with one color and try adjusting its lightness, darkness, or saturation. Sometimes a little contrast is all your color palette needs. Readability is an important factor in any design. Your colors should be legible, engaging, and easy on the eyes. Sometimes that means not using color, at least not in every little detail. Neutral colors like black, white, and gray can help you balance your design, so when you do use color, it really stands out. Every color sends a message. It's important to consider the tone of your project and choose a color palette that fits. For example, bright colors tend to have a fun or modern vibe. Desaturated colors often appear more businesslike. Sometimes it just depends on the context. You'd be surprised how flexible color can be. You can find ideas for color schemes in all kinds of interesting places, from advertising and branding to famous works of art. You can even use a web resource to browse color palettes or generate your own. Even experienced designers take inspiration from the world around them. There's nothing wrong with finding something you like and making it your own. Everywhere you look, there's color, color, and more color. It can be intimidating to use it in your work, but it doesn't have to be. Just keep experimenting and remember what you've learned about color theory. Soon, choosing great-looking colors will feel like second nature.
I hope you have watched the previous animation keenly and you are familiar with some more interesting coloring concepts now. Now for today's task, we will be having a discussion in Microsoft Teams live chat tab. There I will ask you some questions and you can answer to them. And we can discuss regarding the coloring concepts that we studied today. This will be all for today and I will now see you in the live chat tab of Microsoft Teams. Thank you. Let's head back to the Microsoft Teams live chat tab.